Good afternoon, students. So we'll be continuing with our chapter 1 part 3. That is the topic of part 3 is software testing techniques. So what are the techniques, tools applied, fundamentals, principles, what are the testing techniques, how they are used in the code, all these things are there in this chapter. So moving on. The first is testing fundamentals. Here, testing fundamentals means how is the testing process done and why is it used in the testing process is being given here. Testing is the process of finding all the possible defects or discovering software products deficiencies. So testing is done for removing the defects or analyzing the defects and removing the defects from it. So deficiencies here means all the ill effects or negative effects whatever are there. So the product is lacking, all those defects are being removed with the help of testing process. It is also a process of executing a program with the intention of logging a defect against the software product. So any logging process, when it is having some failures, to remove those failure defects, what is being done, a testing process is being executed to check whether any defects are there or not. The primary benefit of testing is to make a workable software product better, to improve the quality of deliverables. So until and unless the product is going into the customer's hand, that is at the end of delivery, till that time when we keep on checking the product, there will be no defects in the product when it goes into the customer's hands, and that is the reason this is one of the primary benefit of testing. It also provides a good indication of software reliability. Reliability here means the compatibility of the software. We are checking whether it is okay or not, is it working with all the specific conditions or not. These are the things which can be we get in the output as in service when we do testing properly. And it also reduces the risk of failures during deployment when the program is debugging or is in the build process. When everything is done, all the process is being complete, till that time after the deployment, if there is no bug, so that can be done only when we are doing the testing process properly. So the next is principle of testing. So there are certain principles of testing. So testing principles, total 7 principles are there. We'll be learning each and every principle. So first I'll read all the principles here. First one is the testing shows presence of defects. Exhaustive testing is impossible. Early testing, defect clustering, pesticide paradox, testing is context dependent, absence of errors, fallacy. So all these 7 principles are there, from which the first one is testing shows presence of defects. So as the name says in the principle, testing shows presence of defects. So testing is somewhere a factor which will help you to check that yes, this product will have a defect and we have to remove that defect. So we'll read. Testing principle states that testing talks about presence of defects and don't talk about the absence of defects. So testing always will have an query that yes, defect is there and we have to solve this defect. It will never say that defect is not present. That is, software testing reduces the probability of undiscovered defects remaining in the software, but even no defects are found, it is not a proof of correctness. So here when we do software testing, it reduces the probability. Probability means whether there or whether not there, or undiscovered. Undiscovered means which are not discovered yet till the process. All those defects remaining in the software are still there in the software, are done or are found out with the help of software testing, but we cannot assure that there is no defect found, and this cannot be proved with any correctness. That is, we cannot prove it that there was no defect found in the product itself. Second one is exhaustive testing is not possible. Exhaustive testing means we cannot say at the second module or third module, that is an example, that yes, my testing is done and hence further till the deployment process there will be no defect or error in the product or in the software. So this is not possible. Yes, exhaustive testing is not possible. Exhaustive means which comes to an end, which has no further process, so that is called as exhaustness. So exhaustive testing is not possible. Instead, we need the optimal amount. Optimal means the maximum optimal amount of testing based on the risk assessment of the application. We have one risk factor which is always going to be there in the process, and for that particular process of we have to work with the risk of the application. Until that time we have to keep on doing the testing of our product. The next one is early testing. So as the name says, early testing should be start as early as possible in the software development life cycle. In the last lecture I had been told you that SDLC one model was there, that is V model. So it had certain stages, that is requirement analysis, design analysis, then you have architectural design, then you have storage, and then you have coding. All those testing process and all those stages were there, and they had unit testing, acceptance testing, system testing, all those things were there in that. So that V model had everything whatever is there. So in that what we had was requirement analysis, which was the first model, first stage. So we'll read further what is there in that. So that any defects in the requirements or design phase are captured in the early stages. Why it is being specified that requirements or design phase, that is the first and the second phase. Once the requirements are being provided by the customer, once the design of the product is being confirmed, what we can do is we can start the testing process. Then it is much cheaper to fix a defect in early stages of testing. So rather than spending more amount of money at the end of the life cycle of that particular development of the product, rather than that what we can do is we can fix it in the earlier stages so that it can become more cost saving. It will not involve more cost saving into it. Then, but how early one should start testing? So there is one question which can arise, that is how early can we start the testing process? So once it is recommended that you start finding the bug the moment the requirements are designed. Once requirement analysis is done, we can start with the testing process as early as possible. The next one is defect clustering. Defect clustering, which states that a small number of modules contain most of the defects detected. This is the application of the Pareto principle to software testing. Approximately 80% of the problems are found in 20% of the modules. If the same tests are repeated over and over again, eventually the same test cases will no longer find new bugs. So defect clustering, defect means an error, clustering means a bunch of something or things which are tied together or collected together is called as a cluster, which are connected to each other. So how is defect clustering done? Which states that small number of modules, any small modules contain most of the defects detected. So small values will have certain defects which human error can occur. People cannot see it, but there will be some defect which can be found out in the debugging stage. That is the reason this is the application of Pareto principle to software testing. So we have this Pareto principle as a topic in the further chapter, but what that principle says that approximately 80% of the problems, 80% of the defects will be found out in the 20% of modules, the initial 20% of the module of the software. If the same tests are repeated over and over again, if we apply those same test cases again and again on that same modules, eventually after that the same test cases will no longer find new bugs. So they will not have new bugs. We just only have to solve the old errors or bugs whatever are there. The next is pesticide paradox. Here pesticide in scientific reason, what in scientific words we can say is pesticides means some product which is applied to remove a particular thing from the start itself, from the birth itself. To remove something is called as a pesticide. Paradox is to apply it on that particular thing so that we can remove it from the roots itself. If the same set of repetitive tests are conducted, the method will be useless for discovering new defects. So again and again, if we apply same test conditions on the new defects which are there, so new defects will not be discovered. So what to do is, to overcome this, the test cases need to be regularly reviewed and revised, adding new and different test cases to help find more defects. So what can be done is test cases. What are the test conditions? So applying different values at a time so that we can check whether new defects are there. What can be done to remove those new defects? All these things can be reviewed and revised and written in the test case documentation. Testers cannot simply depend on existing test techniques. We cannot depend, that is, a tester cannot only depend on the old techniques or on the existing techniques. Every time an innovative technique should be written so that we can find new defects. He must look out continually to improve the existing methods to make testing more effective. To make it more effective, to find those errors at the very early stage, we have to keep on increasing the testing techniques or the methods applied on the particular software. Next is testing is context dependent. Testing is context dependent means, context means the text whichever is there or the code whichever is there here as an example. Dependent, again reliable we can say. Testing is context dependent, which basically means that the way you test an e-commerce site will be different from the way you test a commercial off-the-shelf application. Yes, obviously the testing process for each and every application, for each and every software will be different. As for example, if I have an e-commerce website, that is a shopping website, the testing process for it will be different. And when I have a different commercial website, a business website, then the testing for that will be different. So that is context dependent. Reliability is again a factor, means whichever is the compatible or reliable thing for it, we have to be applicable to that thing only. All the developed softwares are not identical. Softwares are not identical. Identical means same. They will be different according to their process or their particular coding process or how they are programmed. You must use a different approach, methodologies, techniques and types of testing depending upon the application type, how it is created, how it is programmed, what is the actual platform on which it is developed. All those things we have to check. Platform here means it's a Java programming, it's C++ programming, it's C programming. All such things are taken into consideration while we apply a testing technique. For example, here again, an POS system at a retail store will be different than testing an ATM machine. So obviously POS means there is one application which is running in a grocery store, or grocery means a normal general store or a retail store, but it will be different. That testing machine will be different than that of the ATM machine. ATM machine is automated teller machine which provides you with money. That machine software will also always be different, and those testing techniques also will be different. Hence, testing is context dependent. How the software is developed, on that basis the testing should be done. The last one is absence of errors fallacy. Errors fallacy means there will be no errors is one false statement which is being given. How it is done? It is possible that software which is 99% bug free is still unusable. Why I have to say unusable? Unusable means not in use. Why? This can be the case if system is tested thoroughly for the wrong requirement. I am doing the testing process at the earlier stage. I know everything. I am doing it from the requirement stage, but I do not know what are the actual requirements of my customer, and I am delivering a wrong product to the customer. What is it used for? Even if it is 99% bug free, there is no use when it goes into the delivery of the customer. How? Software testing is not mere finding defects. It's not only a process of only finding the defects, but also check that software addresses the business needs. Whatever the needs of the customers, what are the requirements of the customers, that are also fulfilled or not, is also one task which needs to be completed when we talk about software testing. Now, the absence of error is a fallacy. Now, absence of error is a fallacy means it is not true that there will not be an error, but that is, finding and fixing defects does not help if the system built is unusable and does not fulfill the user needs and requirements. Even if my errors are not there, it's an bug free and proper product, but it does not fulfill the needs and requirements of my customer, then that software is not properly developed or programmed. This is one errors policy which we have to check while we are checking the requirements and then testing the process. Moving on further, testing team. Now when we talk about when we are testing again and again, software testing software. So who are the people who are working on this? So there are program managers, quality assurance lead, test analyst and test engineers. So these are the 4 stages in which people are working. Program manager, what does it do? Planning and execution of the project, the final planning and till the execution, the whole process who looks after is the program manager. QA lead, who works on quality assurance effectiveness, how to improve the upgradations of a particular software, rather it is a technique, method or an whole project. All these effectiveness methods are being improved by the quality assurance lead. Then is the test analyst, for executing tests, gathering and managing test data. Every time executing test processes, gathering the information, that is the code, and managing that test data. Whenever that testing is done, managing that particular process is being done by the test analyst. Test engineer, for writing and executing test cases and report test defects. So writing, making a proper documentation of the test cases which are being designed for that software, and reporting test defects, making a documentation and reporting to the higher levels, that is the analyst, QA lead and program manager, for that defects which are being reported and solved. So next is test case design. So a test case is a set of actions. Now when I'm speaking about testing, I need test cases for that testing. And what are those test cases? A test case is a set of actions executed. Now it's a set of actions, or we can say functions, executed to verify a particular feature or functionality of a software application. For example, when I'm talking about a software which has an field called as date of birth. So for that date of birth, what every person will have a different date of birth, and for that date of birth to apply, I need to keep on checking the test cases, that whenever I am applying a different date, it is getting saved in the database or not. So the features and functionalities of my software will be different, and for that I need a set of actions to be executed to verify that every time I am adding new date, it is getting saved or not. And for that, test case design techniques, there are certain design techniques which are there. So there are 2 test case design techniques. First one is the black box testing and second one is the white box testing. So these are the 2 techniques which we'll learn in the further chapter only, that is it is in the continue chapter only, that we'll be doing tomorrow. Till that we'll stop here. Thank you.